Good morning, everyone. I have my phone charger here in case my battery is weird, but I think our signal's good. Sometimes for some weird reason our signal's not, but we're good. So I will wait for a couple people to jump on and we will get to this hydrangea. So I was reading everybody's color choices on the post, and so I whipped up the colors this morning. Hey, Erica. Erica, hi Christina. So I was reading all the different colors that everybody was putting, so I picked the colors this morning because I posted that pretty late last night, and so I didn't have any colors until today, so I was running around trying to find the right colors. So I know, Erica, but I am late because I couldn't find a really good green that I loved, because I'm gonna do blue and green. Someone suggested blue and green. Hi Lisa. Hi Elena. So someone suggested the blue and the green, you know, where it's like the centers are darker blue and then the edges are like a limey kind of green. So I was running around looking for paint colors. So actually I have latex and I have an acrylic for the green today because that's the color green that I liked. So this is the large hydrangea. I don't know if we're gonna get to paint the entire thing because that might be boring. I'm not sure y'all want to watch me for that long, because it's a lot of little things. And this does take a long time, guys. So if you're ever doing hand painting for a project, make sure you include all like that time in your cost, because yeah, it takes a lot of extra time to do the hand painting. I'll tell you some of my tips and tricks for hand painting. You don't have to just do this just for the hydrangea, obviously. It's the same kind of thing for the thing. Like the green? No, I wanted like a limey green, so I'm using, it's called spring green. It's blurry when I hold it close. Hold on. So it's called spring green. It's just an acrylic, but it's the only color I found that I really wanted for the green. So usually I use latex, y'all know that. But today I needed to use acrylic because I needed this green. So I didn't want it to be like a dull green. This is more like an olive green. I didn't really want an olive green. I wanted it to be kind of bright. So I'm gonna hand paint this hydrangea, and we're just gonna take it one blossom at a time, which is why it takes a long time. But we'll see how many we get through and see if you're all bored by the time I get through like 5 of them. But the process of hand painting is, you know, the process of hand painting is a tedious one, but you really gotta go through like airbrush hydrangea. No, it's easy to airbrush. Although, yeah, it's easy to airbrush. It's just, okay, my airbrush, it was like not accepting my latex paint very well. And no matter how much I tried to clean it out, it just kept clogging. And then it was taking like 10 times as long to use the airbrush as it was to hand paint. But I know people do it and they do it well and they clean it properly, but I just don't have the time to like sit and babysit an airbrush. But I'm looking, and I'm gonna share when I find one. I am looking for an airbrush that will take latex paint and it not be a big deal. And I mixed latex paint with alcohol so that it was supposed to help, but it's more because I don't have time to clean it well and properly. So, so I'm just gonna take each blossom. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna give you some tips while I do it. And if you have any questions, stop me. And if you can't see something, stop me too, because I have a hard time seeing what you see because all the comments are. Yeah, and Erica, so I really love the small hydrangeas. Morning, Heidi. Erica, I love the small hydrangeas, but this is the large one. This one is more like, you know, you can just put it right into a mason jar and it'd be done. I love these kind of hydrangeas because you don't need to put them into things. These kind of hydrangeas I usually take apart into little sections, because when you put them in a bouquet, and you all know I do more bouquets than home decor, I pull off little sections. So maybe I should do that, actually. Let me just make this smaller and I can show you how to do that. Let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to undo this. Okay, so these are all on little wires. Guys, my Band-Aids. I got so burnt last night. I got like a 1,000,000-degree burn. Hey, Amy. Hi, Maria. So I'm going to take this large hydrangea down a bit, just for a couple reasons, because I'm on live and you don't need to see me paint 700 blossoms, but also because I don't use it this big in a bouquet. So let me just show you how to do that. So look, I'm just undoing the tape that came with it, and I'm gonna make one that's more usable for like a bouquet or something, just because I do weddings more than I do home decor. So I'm gonna just peel this back. You see, I'm just peeling it back, and it's all on little wires. I also use these for minis. like for flower crowns and fillers for corsages, like this one hydrangea can do like 100 corsages, and like it's crazy. So I do like I feel like you get like a lot of bang for your buck. Shaving cream. Yeah, I just have medicines on it. My hands are constantly with band-aids. Like I have 3. I just burn myself all day. Hey, Gay. I burn myself, but I usually burn myself at night. I want to show you what I made last night, but the bride hasn't seen it yet. Maybe like a sneak peek. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't show it, but let's see. This is what I burnt my hand on last night. I'll show you. I was making that. So it happens when you make things at 2 in the morning, but this is a cascade I made last night. It's got rose gold and purples. So that is what I burnt my hand on, because you shouldn't craft in the dark with hot glue. Just saying. Okay, so I'm deconstructing this a bit, okay? I'm gonna make a smaller one, which is really great about these. Again, like these are great because you can make them into different pieces. You can use them as minis, or you can just make them smaller. If you're putting them in a bouquet, it's better to make them smaller because this is kind of like a heavy duty piece. But if you're gonna use them for like just to sit in a mason jar, like that's beautiful. All right, so let me make a mini one here. Shake it out here. Okay. I didn't do a clear view of it because she hasn't seen it yet. So she's not on here, so we're good. Okay, so see how they all come apart, and you can use these for like a bunch of different things. In fact, we can hand paint them like this and then combine them after. That's probably the easier way to do it. So I'm gonna just do one by one, and I'm gonna hand paint it, and then I'm gonna put them back together, because I think that's a really good, easy idea, actually. Okay. So let me show you what colors I'm doing today. Someone suggested, I think it was Lisa, suggested the blue centers with the green tips. I like to do ones that are like in the real world, because I have a hydrangea bush outside and I just stick it in there to show people how real it looks. Okay, so I'm making a mess already. Okay, so this is the color I'm going to use for my centers. So I had a little bit of it left in here, and I just added water to my container and shook it up. So this is called, I know it's backwards for you guys, but it's called Cosmic Cobalt. Okay, and I like that bright blue. This is Bare Latex paint. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. So when you're hand painting, you can figure out what kind of like look you're looking for. So I like, for the hydrangeas, a very like watercolor look where the colors kind of run into each other. So you're going to want to use like more, let me see if you can see it without me pouring it all over, more water than paint. It's definitely watery. Okay, it's definitely watery. Sorry, Christina. I don't think it's my connection, or at least I'm not freezing on my end, but okay, so it's very watered down, and that was the Cosmic Cobalt. And now I'm going to mix this green color. So this is just water. I mean, it looks like it's not, but it's just because my bowl is creepy. So I've got water in here, and I am going to use an acrylic because this is the color that I needed. So I'm just going to add some in there. I don't like measure. I just wait to see like the color or the shade that I want. So I'm just going to like mix this up pretty good. Can y'all see me? Okay, so I'm going to do the blue and the green. I wanted this is called Spring Green. I showed it at the beginning. It is an acrylic. I don't usually use acrylics because they could be crispier, but I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to blend this in super thin, so it probably won't be a big deal. Okay, so I'm using the Cosmic Cobalt and a Spring Green. I think it's going to be pretty. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, but if you have any questions, just stop me, because this is kind of like a tedious process. It's not very super exciting. I don't know how to be kind of fun and exciting while I'm hand painting, because I'm also concentrating too. So if you have any questions about how to mix it, I do this very watery for this kind of a hand painting with a hydrangea, because I want them to like bleed into each other. So if they're bleeding into each other, it gives that more like organic, real look, okay? So the green's gonna be the tips of my flowers, and the cobalt's gonna be the centers. Okay, let me show you them together. okay? I undid my hydrangea for anyone joining right now. Look, I undid it because I didn't need it so big because I use mine for bouquets. So I undid it. Hey, Jennifer Farrell. Okay, so I'm gonna do, make a smaller one. So I'm gonna just paint each blossom. And it's easier that way too because you can get on the bottom side as well. So I'm gonna paint each blossom and then I'm gonna reassemble it. Okay, so it's just easier if you're not gonna dip it or something. And you can dip these, guys. I've dipped them and then went back with a hand paint. So it's okay if you like don't have a lot of time or you're like, this is ridiculous to hand paint each blossom. I get it. So just then dip it in one color and then you can go back with a different color. Okay, so we're all caught up. Okay, so I know some of you have watched my tutorials before. So when I hand paint, I use, I know this is funny, maybe I'm not even allowed to show a brand, but whatever. I use the dollar store detangler spray. And only because it gives me a good spritz instead of just like soaking something down. But it's also like conditioning and I feel like it keeps it softer. So I don't know if it really does, but that's what I do. And then like when I get towards the bottom, I just keep filling it up with water. So like eventually it's probably just water, but I like the amount of spritz that I get. Okay, so when we're hand painting, usually you like to have your flower pretty wet if you're going for, again, that watery color, spill into each other kind of look, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna spray it down with my detangler spray / water, and we're gonna start painting with the blue first because we're gonna do the center first, and I will show you how to like bleed it together. Okay, so I'm gonna let this down pretty good. Okay, so I just sprayed it. It's pretty wet. I don't know if you can see. It's pretty wet. Okay, so I think I put the wrong brush in the wrong one. Hold on. I just gotta switch my brushes because I need the small one for the center. Okay, so I just have regular brushes. Let me show you my brushes. Okay, I got one bigger, one smaller. So I'm using the smaller one for my center color, which is my blue. All right, so I wet my flower, wet my blossom, and now I'm just gonna touch it in my very watery paint. Again, if you want like a bolder color, if you want it to not bleed, then don't wet your flower and have a little bit thicker of paint, but I want mine to bleed. So that is, for hydrangeas, I like them to, like the colors to bleed into each other, okay? So I'm just gonna take my blue and I'm just gonna like literally let me see if you can see this good. Let the paint like drop into there, okay? So see how it bleeds? It doesn't make like a direct line, and I like that because when you get like a line when you just do paint, it doesn't like blend as easy and it looks a little faker. So I'm just gonna go in here again. I'm just let me see if I can get really close. I'm just like letting it drip. Okay, can you see that? I'm just touching it to the wet. Yeah, Bailey, so the same concept. Fabric softener, but mine is hair conditioner. So, okay, so let me show you again. Okay, is it blurry? Sometimes when I get close, it's blurry. So I'm just gonna touch it and let it like bleed in, okay? So I gotta pull it back because I have to be able to see what I'm doing too here. So just doing the centers right now. And I do a couple like back and forth. So like once I do the green, I'll come back for the blue. So don't worry about like every little spot right now, okay? All right. So I'm only gonna stay concentrated for right now because I do it a couple times back and forth. Now I got my center done, okay? And these also look like pansies. I know someone else has used these as pansies. You can kind of like paint them purple and leave them like that, like little mini pansies. So that's another thing too. Okay, I'm gonna do the back side of it blue too. So again, actually the back is not very wet. Let me wet it. All right, so I'm spraying it just to wet my flower so that it bleeds. Again, I want it to bleed. If you don't want it to bleed, then keep a dry flower and thicker paint. Yeah, Bailey, you know why? It's just easier. It's from the dollar store and it has like a nice mister on it, you know, like it's not a thick spray. So, okay, so can you guys see? I'm just tapping it in. Again, I go back and forth a couple times with the colors, so don't worry about like white spot or like, is it in the exact spot? Okay. Carrie, It's just a tangler spray. I mean, it doesn't have to be Barbie brand, but mine is. It's just a tangler spray from the dollar store. It wets it nice because it's like a misting kind of, and it keeps it soft. So yeah, and don't put these guys in the, don't put your hydrangeas in the oven to dry because of the wires and stuff, the wires in it, it just doesn't work right. So make sure that you let these guys dry naturally, okay? I know it's, if you're like me, the patience aspect of it is annoying, but okay. So I'm gonna do a couple coats of it, so just see what I've got so far. And then I'm gonna move to the green, so let me show you. Now, you're gonna do whatever colors you want. So, you know, take pictures of real hydrangeas, and some have the blue and the purple. So there's pink, and I think it was a bunch of color combinations this morning that people were thinking of. I mean, it doesn't even have to be real color combinations, but this is the one that I chose. So this is the spring green, okay? Now, make sure your flour keeps staying wet. Again, I want it to bleed into each other. Like I want it a watercolory, whatever. So just keep spritzing it if it starts to dry, okay? Now, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my, can you see? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna take my brush and my thing, and I'm gonna literally hold it on its side like this, and I'm gonna just tap my brush on the tip of the petal, okay? So I'm gonna just tap it like this, okay? And then the bead of paint runs down to the center. I'm gonna do a couple and then I will show you, okay? I'm just tapping it and letting it like bleed down, okay? And I'm gonna show you what happens, okay? Ooh, that green is very hard to see on camera, isn't it? Hold on, let me see if I can get it a little thicker so you can see it. Okay, I'm just tapping it, okay? Can you see the green? I'm sorry, guys. The green is very hard to see in the video, but in real life it's very visible here. Okay, so I'm just tapping it right now and letting it bleed down, okay? So right now I'm just gonna go to each petal. Let me show you again. Let me show you up close. Okay, see how I have it on my side and I just tap it like that. Okay, and I'm gonna do a couple different things. So it's, again, we're not focusing on it needing to cover every little bit right now because I'm gonna come back with more coats. So I'm just literally tapping it on the top and then see how it bleeds down. Let me see if I can hold it this way. Okay. Okay, you can see the green, okay, good. Okay, so I just gonna do this again. So this is where I like make it so that there's a clear difference between the blue and the green. And then that's when we're gonna come back and blend it kind of more together so that there's no like white in between. All right, let me see if I'm holding it like this. Okay, so I'm just tapping it, super easy. Okay, and it runs in. Hi, Jill. All right, then maybe it's just me who can't see it on the camera. Okay, so now that we've tapped it on in there, okay. Now I'm gonna turn it upside down because I wanna do the back too. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna tap where I want it, let it bleed. Super easy, guys. Not like a difficult process. But then this is where I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna start to do a little bit more of the mixing of color. Okay, can we see that? But do you see how there's still like, again, I just did the ends, so can you see how there's still like white in between? So this is where I'm gonna start blending, okay? So I'm gonna just, I wanna darken up my edges just a little bit. And you can have like a separate too where you put more paint in it if you want like your edges darker. Remember, anytime you have less water, your colors are darker and more, not necessarily vibrant, but more opaque. So, okay. So now I'm gonna put my green to the side and I'm gonna come back in with the blue. Now that we've gotten our edges the right color, our centers the right color, I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna start like spreading out the blue up into the green. So like, I'm gonna see where there's like some spots of white. So I'm gonna start filling that with blue. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this, let me see if I can hold it like this, okay? And I'm gonna just start spreading up, okay? Just touching it because it's wet, it's very wet. I sprayed it with the detangler spray. It bleeds really easy. And then I'm just gonna do this, and then you, again, if you need to keep wetting your flour, you're just gonna do that. But if you just touch it with this very watery stuff, it literally will bleed itself into each other. And it looks really cool because it'll look more natural that way. Okay. So I'm just touching it in. Again, here's this. I used a detangler spray from the dollar store. You can use just plain water. I think it works the same, but it's just, I don't know. I've just always done it and it, okay. So now I'm just pulling it up so that some of the blue goes further out, because a flower is not going to be like a circle center color for hydrangea. It usually like bleeds into each other. You usually can't like see where the colors kind of meet. So I'm just tapping and it bleeds. Less like stroke, more just letting it drip into it, because my paint again is super, if people are joining right now, my paint again is super duper watery. So, okay, and the bottom looks good. Although you're not gonna be able to see the bottom really well, but the bottom already bled good because it's upside down, so. Okay, all right. Ooh, it's like wiggling. I swear it's not my hand shaking. Okay, so I've tapped that in, okay. Started in the middle and kind of swooshed it out, tapped it out, okay. So now that I've gone back with my blue, I'm gonna go back with my green and do the reverse. So now I'm gonna start at the edges and kind of slide it on the inside. So that way they meet and it's a natural look. Okay, does anyone have any questions so far? We good? Okay, I'm gonna pull that into the blue so that it mixes good. I can kind of even go a little bit over it so that it kind of makes a different kind of a green on the inside so that it blends. So let me show you. Again, these, I've seen these used as pansies too. I think Victoria Miles had made them little pansies or something too, so. Renee, in order to like get them to bleed, they have to be pretty wet. And I just use it, I've always used a detangler spray because it's soft and I feel like it helps the paint stay soft. I could be just making that up really, but but it's from the dollar store. And I just keep the bottle and I just keep adding water to it. So by the end, it's really not like potent detangler, so. Okay, so I'm gonna put this down and do another one. So for anyone joining us now, they'll see it from the start. And again, I'm gonna combine these. Now you could do, again, any color combination you want, but this is the one I happened to choose because I saw it today and I was like, oh yeah, I think I've seen that and I love that, so. Okay, so any new joiners right now that need colors? Because I can show you that again. I'm using for the blue, I mean, I know it's backwards, but Cosmic Cobalt. Okay, that's what I'm using for the blue. And for the green, I'm using Spring Green. Okay, I don't usually use acrylics anymore, except for when I need projects like this where I need a color and it's in my house, so. Okay, so the paint is very watered down. Okay, we got that, it's watered down. And I'm going to spray the flower as well because I want it to be watercolor and bleedy. I'm also spraying my whole self down, but so we want it pretty wet on both sides. And we're starting on the center. So we're gonna start with the darker in the center. And again, now we're just gonna take our brush, again, very watered down. Hey, Julie, very watered down paint. Here we go. Very watered down paint. And I'm just gonna literally let it go. Like if you can see, let me see if I can get it to do it. Now it's not gonna be able to see, but it's very drippy. Can you see the edge of my brush, how it's got like a little bead? If I bring it over there, I'm gonna get everything painty, but it's got like a little bead of paint. I'm gonna like touch it and it just bleeds, watch. See how it just like drips in there? See if you just touch it, because everything is so wet, it just bleeds itself. So if you just touch it, it literally will kind of go in the right spot, which is great because it fills up the spots without having to like spend hours like getting it in the exact spot. So I'm just gonna do the center of this one. Again, I'm letting that bead of watery paint just kind of fall in there. Okay, and I'm not like so focused. Remember, we go back with the colors one more time. So I'm just trying to get it dark in the center right now, and then we're gonna go back and blend a little bit better once we get to our next colors. So just wanna make sure we get the tips in there. Okay. Any questions? Anyone joining right now? Anyone new to my tutorials and have questions that maybe they're confused why I'm here? Okay, so I did the center. Again, I'm not so focused on it being perfect right now because I'm gonna go back. Then I'm gonna flip it upside down. And again, this is the easier way to paint them because you can get to the backs very easy, like deconstructing it and then reconstructing it, because it just is easier to get in there. So again, I'm just gonna take my this is kind of dried out, so I'm gonna spray it again. And I'm gonna, again, just let it drip at the base and go towards the out. It'll bleed itself out, okay? All right. I'm just tapping it. It doesn't matter where it bleeds right now. Again, we're gonna keep going back and forth with the colors, so it's okay if it went down further on one side or didn't go on the other side because we're gonna wet it and redo it again anyway. Okay, so I did the back. Let's go back to the front. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my green again. And again, whatever colors you decide to do is fine, but your outside color comes second. So do your centers first. Make sure you stir up your, let me pull it this way. Make sure you stir up your paint each time so that it doesn't get clumpy. You don't want clumps. I'm gonna make sure my flour is still pretty wet. It is still pretty wet. I'm gonna spritz it. Okay, again, see how it drips, guys? See how my paint is so watery, it drips? So again, I'm gonna just tap the edges and it just drips in, okay? And then I'm gonna keep spinning. Again, I'm not so concerned about filling every single white spot just yet because we're still gonna go back to the blue and the green again. But we're just gonna make sure that our green bleeds down into the blue right now. So I'm just tapping the edges. Hello, Sarah Jane. That's a cute name. I feel like a name like Sarah Jane is like when your mom is mad at you. Sarah Jane! It's a cute name. My dad calls me just by my middle name when he's mad. No, he calls me it when he's happy too, but. Okay, so I'm just tapping the edges, letting the green bleed down into the blue. Okay. Remember, again, I'm not concerned so much about filling up those white spots just yet. I'm just getting the edges. We got the center blue, so I'm trying to get the edges really green. Because we do want it to be a distinct color difference. But the inside where they meet, that's where it's gonna blend more. So I'm just gonna do that back of it too. Again, I deconstructed my hydrangea for anyone joining us. I have it in little pieces, okay? And I will put it back together. Laura, yeah, you can swipe your comments. I'm trying to, though, paint up high so that you can see it. But you can swipe your comments away if you don't want to read the comments. Or you can read the comments now, and when you come back to watch it, you swipe it and it goes away. Okay, I'm going to the blue. Okay, I'm gonna try to paint up high so that you're able to see that. Okay, so we did the blue in a concentrated spot in the center. We did the green, and now we're gonna come back with the blue, and again, we start our brush in the middle this time, and we swipe out up towards the green to try to cover some of that white now. So I'm gonna just add that in. If you're, it's kind of hard for me to do it this high, but I hope that it helps. If you feel like your flour is drying out a little bit, make sure you spritz it again. Okay. This is the point where we're wanting to kind of cover the white. Okay. So we're taking the blue and we're sliding it up towards the green now. Okay. Make sure you're, if you're wanting this watercolor, make sure you're staying like really wet in there. Okay. Now we go back to the green. Okay, here we go. Now we go back to the green and we're gonna slide down into the blue until we cover all our white spots, okay? Can you see it if I hold it this high? Hey, Sandy. Okay, so this is where we're focusing now on covering up those white spots. We're gonna let it drip down into the blue. Hey, Barb. Okay, keeping it nice and wet and drippy so that it bleeds. Okay. I'm done. Yeah, and that way when you rewatch it, like sometimes you want to read the comments because people are asking questions that you're, you know, that you have interest in. But when you rewatch it, just swipe them out. Oh, Sandy. It's okay, Sandy. It's just the same process over again. So I'm going to do a handful of them and then I'll put them together to show you how I put them together. Okay, so again, we're starting. If anyone who's joining in needs colors or anything like that, you can stop me and ask. But I don't want to go over every single bloom just because everybody watching beforehand does not want to hear it 100 times. So if you have a question, please ask. Starting with my blue, I'm going to wet my flower. I use, again, detangler spray, but you don't have to. You can just wet it. You get it pretty wet because, again, you want it to bleed. My paint is pretty watery. And I'm just going to do the center with the blue. Okay. I know, I like this color. Someone reminded me, I've seen real hydrangeas like this. I've also seen Sola hydrangeas with this color combination, but I had never done one, and I was like, oh, I've been wanting to do that. I've seen the pink with the green too. This is a good green, like a springy type green is good with the pink ones. That's a real color combination that I've seen before too. My hydrangeas are purple, like my real hydrangeas in my real life, in my house, so. Anyone else's kids sleep till like noon? Because my kids just woke up. It's noon. Just one of them. The other one is still sleeping. I love that I have summer sleepers because I couldn't do the whole wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning in the summer. Okay, so I did the center again. Okay, I'm turning it over. This is still dry, so I want to just spray it. Here, spray it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do blue kind of at the center of the back too. And just let it, again, I'm just patting it and it just drips. It bleeds because it's so watery. So it's perfect because you don't have to do a lot of work when you do it. If you wet it enough, it's not a lot of work, so. Again, it's okay wherever it bleeds. Like, let it do that naturally because it looks more natural in the end. Okay, so I got my blue. Now I'm going to come in with my green. Okay. I'm going to stir it up again. Now again, I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to just tap the tips of it and let it spill into the blue. Okay. Oh no. Did you have no air conditioning? Oh my word. Erica just said her electricity went off. I can't imagine no air conditioning right now. It's really hot in New Jersey, although today is rainy, so. All right, so we're going with the green. Again, I'm just tapping the tips and letting it run down. We're not worrying about the white spots right now. We're gonna go back with each color one more coat. So don't worry about that. We're just, I mean, it's so easy. Can you see it if it is high enough past the comments here? But we're just trying to get the tips, the darkest color of the difference of colors, so. How many small ones do you use in a bouquet in a bunch? I mean, it depends on what the bouquet size is and everything. Let me think, like probably like 6 or so. When I'm done with this, I will show you because we'll count them. But in a bouquet, I don't like it to be so bulky. Even if I don't paint them, even if they're just white, I usually deconstruct it if it's going into a bouquet. Now, on the other hand, if it's a home decor piece and you want it, like, you literally can just sit them in a jar. I mean, that's what's so great about these is that you don't even have to add anything to it. Okay, so I spilled the green. Okay, I spilled the green into the blue. Now I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do the blending again, okay? I got the blue. I'm gonna start in the center and I'm just gonna pull it up like this. Just swipe up to have it bleed into that green. If your flower starts to dry and it's not bleeding very well, then that's when you're going to want to spray it again. Okay? Because you want it to bleed on its own naturally, and that'll give you the best. You don't want it to be like a line of color and then another line of color. Like, you want it to bleed. So and this is where now you have to concentrate a little bit on hitting all your white spots, okay? So I'm going in there. Again, I know I'm gonna do the green, so I don't need to cover it all with the blue, but I'm wanting it to pull up into that green a little bit. And then I'm gonna go back with my green and do it all over again. Okay. All right, let me do it again. Back to the green. Now this is where I'm focusing on covering up all my white spots, okay? So I'm gonna let it bleed into there. Again, I don't like paint it, the white spots. I kind of let them drip into the white spots. Okay. Just touching it, making sure I get both sides, no white left. And again, this is how I hand paint everything, okay? So, but if you want like a bolder color, then you're not gonna wet your flower so much, or your paint shouldn't be so watered down. But in general, if I'm getting a hand, and it gives it more of like, people were asking about airbrushing today. So this is like the most looking like an airbrush because it fades into each other as opposed to being like a line of color and a line of color. So, but I do like the control of hand painting more than I like airbrushing, but airbrushing is definitely faster. Well, faster unless you have an airbrush like mine where you have to unclog it every 10 seconds, and then it didn't become faster, so that's why I gave up. But yeah, I mean, this gives the look kind of even of an airbrush because it's fading in. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more just so I can bundle it up and show you what it looks like when it's bundled, okay? Again, you can make these into pansies as well. If you leave them even white on the edge and do like the purple in the middle. Let me find a nice pretty blossom here. Okay, so I'm not going to explain every step right this second for this because everybody who's been watching since the beginning, actually this one's got a little chip in it. I don't want to use that. Everyone who's been watching from the beginning probably doesn't want to hear it all over again. But if you have a question, please stop me. Okay, I'm just wetting this sucker down. Okay. Make sure you can see my paint. Make sure you can see my flower. Okay. Start it with your center color first. Any West Coasters on? It's just starting to be where you guys are waking up. Okay, so I'm just doing my center, making sure I let it bleed into there. Okay. Okay, my center, and then I'm going to turn it upside down. It's not wet enough, so I'm going to spritz it. I want it to really be able to bleed. It doesn't really matter how far it bleeds down because we're going to cover it. Carrie, it's fun to watch. I feel like sometimes when I do things like this and I'm like, I need to come up with some like skit or something to make this fun and exciting, but I'm not really that fun of a person. No, I can be fun, but when I'm hand painting and concentrating, it's kind of difficult to be fun. So I hope this isn't totally boring for y'all. Okay, so I'm going in with my green. Again, I'm not concerned about the white spots just yet. I'm just getting my edges green. I'm letting it bleed in. Maybe I should have done a couple different colors, but this is the colors I picked, so can't do anything about it now. But some people had some really cool color combination ideas, but definitely is easier to do this one blossom at a time, as opposed to trying to like paint it while it's in a bunch. So this is what I suggest. Okay, I'm just doing the back with the green, and then come back with the blue. I mean, sometimes like hand painting is a soothing type of thing. Just like sitting there kind of, yeah, doing this. Oh, no problem. Okay, coming in with the blue again, I'm gonna swipe it up into the green so that we're starting to cover more of that white spot. Again, if it's not wet enough, if it's not bleeding, I mean, then it means it's not wet enough. Go in with your spritzer. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna add this blue, and then I'm gonna go back with the green, and then that's when I'm gonna hit, hey Megan, that's when I'm gonna hit all the white spots with the green. So coming in, now I'm gonna make sure we're completely covered. Okay. All right, I'm gonna hold this up for you. I'm gonna do a few more, then I'll bunch them together so you can see what they look like together. Anyone else like paint without like covering themselves? I'm just always hoping I don't ruin my clothing. Again, you can make these little pansies. I think I might do that. Make something with pansies soon. Okay. So let me show you what I got so far. Okay. So they're drying over here. Again, don't put these in any type of dryer situation. Like put them outside if it's sunny, or it's a dress. I wear dresses in the summer just because who needs waistbands? That's what I say. When you're all hot and sweaty, like no one likes to have a waistband, right? Or is that just me? Maybe it's just me. But I wear dresses all summer for no reason except for comfort and cool. All right, I'm getting another blossom here. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna start with my blue again. Again, this is Cosmic Cobalt Latex. Okay. Yeah, Jill, remember we went to the thrift shop and got a bunch of dresses. Yeah, it's weird. People are like, why are you dressed up? I was like, this is like not dressed up. This is like totally because of comfort and cool. Like, not looking fancy on purpose, just wearing a dress because I don't want to put pants on. How about that? So, all right, I'm going in. Oh, I didn't wet this. Now y'all distracted me with my pants, no pants in the summer story. Okay, so I'm wetting it up, Oh no, Megan. Yeah, I love these because I also use them as minis. Like they're the perfect size mini for things. I use them for baby belly bands for maternity wedding shoots. I definitely use them for like flower girl headbands because flower girls' heads are not huge usually. So, yes. Yes, Carrie, see? It's like a nightgown. And like, see, I feel like I'm wearing pajamas all day and people are like, why are you always dressing up in the summer? And I'm like, this is not dressing up. This is totally 100% for comfort. Nobody's got time for pants, right? I mean, and also then like, you know, in the summer you like change 100 times sometimes, like you're going swimming or whatever. Like, I don't need to be taking off pants and everything else to swim. Like, I just want to, maybe this is an inappropriate conversation, but I just want to be able to pull off the dress, change, and then pull it back on. So anyway, it's my story. Oh my gosh, Megan, I burnt myself so bad last night. So I was making, I'll show you the cascade in a second. So I was making cascade, but it was like 2 in the morning and the lights were like off. I do it in the dark because my children can't sleep with lights. So this sucker, this large sucker killed me last night. I mean, like poured all over my hands. So like, oh, it's gross too, sorry. So yeah, sorry, I don't have like model hands doing this, but pretty gross. So, all right, so we're tapping it in here. Again, if it stops bleeding, it means you need to wet your flower because you want it to drip into a place. All right, let me do the bottom. I definitely need to spray this side because it's dry already. So let me pull my paint closer where you can see it again. Okay, so I'm just tapping it again, doing the back. Yeah, like I squeeze the glue gun, and if you make cascades, it's so easy to burn because you gotta like stick the gun and you gotta like squirt it onto the wire and it drips down. And so if you're not fast enough, it just drips on your hand and then you can't peel it off and then you're screaming and then you try to rub it off and then you rub it off and you rub it onto other hands. It's the worst. I know y'all understand. Like you're the only people who understand. Like, you know, when you get it on you, you want to wipe it off. So you take your other hand and you wipe it off, but then you burn both hands and then you're just burnt everywhere. Yeah, we always joke here that we could probably get away with some crimes because we have no fingerprints left, but don't tell anyone that. Oh, every time, Carrie. Every time. But I heard you're not supposed to put it in ice water. So I actually have like ointment. If I run and put the ointment on and bandage it, I'm good. So like it stops hurting pretty quickly. But yeah, this hand got it last night. Like it, because again, like you try to like wipe it off and then you're like wiping it everywhere and then you're like burning it everywhere. Okay, coming in with my green now. Coming in with my green. Again, just doing the edges. Yeah, well they had those like fingertip things, but definitely wasn't using yours, Jill. You know I don't like the big guns. I only use my mini gun because yours literally would take off your hand. Christina, I just use A&D ointment like a Neosporin. But if I put the Neosporin like immediately, like I peel off the glue, I run, I put Neosporin and wrap it tight with a Band-Aid, it hurts like only for a few seconds. Jill is, if you guys see Jill Ortiz on here, she's one of my employees. She's got a big gun and it's like really hot. Like I was like, I usually get glue on myself. I don't mind a little bit of like heat on my finger. Like, so when I'm doing boutonnieres, I actually rub my finger through the glue gun and I'm kind of okay. Her gun, it was like a shocker to my system. It was so hot because I use a mini and it is high temp. That was like, that took, wow. It was like a jolt to your system. Like when you have a broken tooth or something, it was crazy. Yeah, I heard about shaving cream and what else was it? Apple cider vinegar, someone said? I don't know. So, okay, so I did my green, but I still got some white spots. Now I'm going to come back in with my blue, and I'm going to bleed it up into my green. Steph, is that you? So my other employee, Stephanie, she just got here. We've got a lot of weddings to do today. Or at least finish one wedding and be able to move on to the back. But okay, so I'm going in with this blue. If it's not bleeding, make sure you spritz it. I'm gonna come back in with my green. Yeah, so Jill had a glue gun and it literally, we were like, it was like, I think it was right before my trip, right, Jill? It was right before my trip to San Diego and Utah. And we had to finish all these orders and she plugged it into my house and it literally took out my entire kitchen electricity. And I was in a panic because I had all these orders and it was pretty insane. I was stressed. Then Jill was like, dude, I'm going to get fired. And she's like writing on Facebook, I need an electrician to come here. But it was weird. It was just because it needed like the reset button, but we pushed the reset button, but I guess not hard enough. So later on, I jammed the reset button and it finally started working. So don't use a big gun, just use mini guns, guys. I even buy like, we just keep buying new ones if they go bad, but they're only $3. So, okay. I think I'm going to do 2 more. And then I'm going to bunch them together for you to see what they look like. Okay. Anyone just tuning in right now? Anyone just waking up? I'm going to do 2 more, okay? I'm not going to explain. I'm just going to do them because if you missed the beginning, Stephanie is being all loud and crazy in my house here. I said to sneak in and then she doesn't sneak. Okay. All right, sprayed it. I'm just gonna do these two fast. Jill says hi. Okay. My Cosmic Cobalt. Thanks. It's shimmery too. Want to grab one and show? I'll show them. You guys want to see the rose gold? The other night, Jill and I did a late night video in my group to show the rose gold. Actually, we were just being silly because I was so hyped up on caffeine. But hey, Christina, look at this rose gold, guys. Look how shimmery and pretty this rose gold is. Actually, do you want to hold on? I'm gonna get. I'll get you the name of it in a second. Hold on. This is the rose gold. Let me show you what rose gold we used. Is it over there? Okay. So we used rose gold. It's from Amazon. It's so pretty. So pretty. Anyway, Wendy, I'm spraying it with detangler spray. Just because I like how little the mist is and it keeps it nice and soft. So make sure your flower is wet. But guys, as soon as I'm done with this, I am going to share it. You can watch it from the beginning. I gave like every detail I think possible, known to man. So, okay. Let me just do this side. And then we're going to do the green. And then the blue. And then we're going to make it a pile. You like this color? Like the green?
Like with the green instead of the purple, yes.
I just always think purple because mine are purple in it. Like, I don't know. Okay, I'm going in with the green. Again, I'm just tapping it for the first time around. My house is about to get rowdy. I'm sure my kids are going to be awake at some point. So we are moving fast so I can show you this without all the craziness of my life. Okay, I'm going back to the blue. Yes, Carrie, and it wasn't like I needed a ton of paint. Like, it really covered well. So, like, that was exciting. Yeah, I know, Jill. Why is it, like, not showing up? It shows up like orange on the camera. But it's not in real life, guys. It's just so pretty. It's like that coppery, pinky beautifulness. But on camera, it shows up like orange. I took a picture and I was like, they're going to think it's orange. But I swear, it's beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going back, making sure all my white spots are covered.
Are these being reused?
I don't know. Okay. Make sure my wet spots are done. And then I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to combine them. Yeah, Carrie, it really is great, but I just feel like I can't send. She's locked up. Okay. All right, one more. Got one more. No, Maria, but that might be cool. I should try that. Do you get them on Amazon? Maria, if you can tell me where to get them, I'll buy them and I'll do a tutorial on it. You know, I like to do tutorials on things I have no clue of what I'm doing in front of people. And when I fail, then they feel like, you know, we're the same. It's my way to connect. I like to fail on camera. No, I don't usually fail on camera because I usually figure out a way to hide it, but... All right, my last blossom, and then I'm going to put them all together. Jill, I mean, we know the truth, but I have to make believe that I fail at things. Just joking. I fail. I just try to not do it in public. Well, I fail at things not generally related to the crafting area. Usually this stuff I'm good at. I fail a lot of other things, but like math and the business part of it all, that part I fail at organization, right? I owned a cleaning business. I organized for a living. That's what I did. I fail at it now because there's just no way to keep up. I mean, I'm a big failure at that. So, unless y'all saw the picture in our group, how I was stressed one day and I just cleaned the heck out of my house. But I'm not gonna say why I was stressed because you don't need to do that. But let's see, the tips are like a paintbrush. I think I want to do that. Maria, you're gonna show me what it is and I'm gonna do it. All right, I'm going in with the green. Again, not worrying about any white spots yet. Again, when I'm doing it on my own, like obviously it shouldn't take you as long as when I'm chatting you up. Yeah. Okay, back to the blue. Gonna add the blue, swiping it up into the green. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back into the green, and now this is where I'm gonna make sure all my white spots are filled. Okay. My flower was very wet. Now when you're hand painting flowers that curl, make sure you don't spray your flower because it'll uncurl it. Okay. All right, let me just let this drip dry real fast so I can put it together. All right. So, I painted them. I'm going to show you what they look like together as a little mini bundle. I got vinyl floral tape because I was so frustrated with the stretchy floral tape, but got vinyl floral tape. I'm going to put them together now. I'm going to make them a little cluster. Away from me. Okay, so I'm just going to cluster these up. Again, I use little clusters for weddings and stuff, but you can definitely use the whole one. And again, it's much easier to do this when they're not together than when they are together because you can't get it down in there. Okay, so I'm going to tape this up and I'll show you what it looks like all together. Sorry guys. I haven't figured out the vinyl tape situation where you don't use your teeth. So, sorry. If y'all know how to cut it with one hand, I'd love to know that. Because so far, the teeth is all that I got going on here. Okay. So, again, this is the size I would use probably, maybe a couple more if I wanted it bigger, but in a bouquet. But you can definitely do the whole thing back together. She could have, but she's like cleaning off the table, Jill. Bouncing around here. She said you could have helped cut the tape. But
Yeah, I'm cleaning. It's a big mess.
Okay. Okay, so you could have went bigger, better, but I like these little mini bundles for bouquets. Thanks, Maria. But see how when it all comes together, it's pretty. Again, it's easier to do each blossom at a time as opposed to like trying to like get in there. It's a little weird sometimes. Okay. Alrighty. Any last questions before I go? I'll share it and you can watch it from the beginning if you missed any of the details. And then I'm just gonna let this dry. I'll take pictures of it later once it's dry a little bit. I can kind of form it better. Here, let me put it here so y'all can see it. Yeah, it's about 6 inches, Maria. I don't like to go much bigger in bouquets. So.
You don't like bigger than 6 inches?
It is called Spring Green. Okay. And actually there's, you know, you can do these like, let me see how many you can do in this. I think you have let's see, how many I think I can get out of this. I think I could probably come up with like 3 or 4 out of 1 that are kind of this size. So I will check it out, Maria. I'm gonna see. That might help my life a little bit. So anyway, here's my little bundle of hydrangeas, and I'm going to go and work now. So I hope you enjoyed our video, and I'm gonna try on this, in this business page, we're gonna try to do it once a week, something. So if you guys have ideas, post it here or send me a message about different things you'd like to see. But I just saw the hydrangea and thought I need to paint that, so I did it. So okay, everyone have a good day. Talk to you soon.